Hey everyone, how's it going? Azren here, owner of the Calgary Language Nerds. And today I'd like to walk you through three things: how to learn a language by yourself, how we at the Calgary Language Nerds teach people languages in case you want to sign up for any classes. And then lastly, I want to share how to keep yourself motivated when you are learning a language. That'll be especially relevant if you're trying to learn a language primarily by yourself. Okay, I'll share my screen and let's jump right in. I will start here actually with a little bit about me in case you're new to my work. My name is Azren. I love learning languages. I speak English, I speak French, I speak Mandarin, I speak Spanish, and I speak Gujarati. I'm learning a sixth language right now. So I'm an expert at learning languages and at teaching them. I run the Calgary Language Nerds. I actually founded this business as well. As I'm recording this video, it was almost 9 years ago that I started this business. My tutors teach one-on-one lessons that lead to fluency, typically within 1 year. I love what I do. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Brings me a ton of joy to help people reach fluency and provide tutors with meaningful employment. So that's a little bit about me. And let's jump into how to teach yourself a language. If you want to teach yourself, we'll start with that. So to teach yourself, actually, let's go back to me. To teach yourself, the first thing, if you're brand new to learning languages, you've never really done this, you probably want to start with something low commitment and easy. So low commitment and easy. This could be buying a textbook, working your way through it alone. This could be watching videos on YouTube. This could be downloading an app, working through the app. You have to start somewhere. I think it's best to start somewhere easy and low commitment just to get your feet wet. Okay? Now, that's not going to lead you to fluency. It just gets you started. So once you have gotten started, what do we do next? Well, I'll show you. The next thing we do is we follow these steps. Here is how to reach an intermediate level if you are a beginner. Step one, you'll want to block off 4 hours a week for language learning. You're welcome to start slower and build up to 4 hours a week if you prefer. That's perfectly fine. But 4 hours a week is the minimum if you really do want to become fluent. Now, how do we spend our 4 hours a week? Well, if you're teaching yourself, I personally think it's best to break your study up into different categories. I'd say start with pronunciation, work on that for a couple of months, then move on to grammar, work on that for a couple of months, then go to listening and reading, work on that for usually I say 4 months, and then practice speaking and writing. And I would usually say do that for about 4 months. So break it up into specific chunks. I do have, by the way, some self-study guides. I call them fluency roadmaps that go really well with this document on the screen. They walk you through precisely step by step by step by step. How do you work on your pronunciation? What are some resources for pronunciation? How do you work on your grammar? What are some resources for grammar? How do we listen and read? What do we listen to? What content should I listen to that's at my level? How do I look up unfamiliar words? Where do I look up unfamiliar words? And then lastly, speaking, like, what do I talk about? What do I write about? How do I get the writing edited? How do I do all this? I do have some very detailed self-study guides that break this down into more detail. Okay. So that's how to reach like an intermediate level. We do 4 hours a week of language learning. You're going to first focus on your pronunciation. Then you'll build some grammar basics. Then you'll do listening and reading. This is to boost your vocabulary primarily, and also to reinforce the grammar knowledge you have in your head. Then speaking and writing. And this is to help you express yourself in the language and actually articulate yourself, not just be able to understand. Okay. If you have an intermediate level, the steps to reach an advanced level are actually way more straightforward. Step one is to block off 4 hours a week for language learning. That's a standard. Again, you're welcome to start slower and build up. That's fine. But if you want to become fluent, you will probably need at least 4 hours a week. Now it's really easy. Lots of listening and reading, lots of speaking and writing. What I'd recommend for the people that are intermediate and trying to become advanced is to use my intermediate fluency roadmap. One of the things in the roadmap, I have a screenshot actually over here. I'll show it to you. One of the things that I'd recommend actually, it's in the fluency roadmap, but it's also here. is a level up tracker. It's going to be a really easy way for you to monitor your progress. That's especially important when you're intermediate. When you're intermediate, trying to become advanced, it's really easy to not feel like you're making progress. It's called the intermediate plateau. There's a word for it. And so I actually made, particularly for self-study students, though we also use it with our students we teach, but I have made this level up tracker, and it's an easy way for you to monitor your progress. I've also made a fluency self-assessment, so you can assess your different skills at home if you are trying to learn a language primarily by yourself. Okay? If you're already advanced and you want to keep going beyond advanced, I mean, I've got some steps for that too. Again, you want 4 hours a week, and you'll want to go back to studying pronunciation again. People that are advanced in a language, they're advanced, but the pronunciation usually is not near native. They don't sound like a native speaker, even though they are advanced. So I usually get them to go back to pronunciation and really hone in on that. More listening and reading, because even if you're advanced, you still don't know enough words, and listening and reading is the way to boost your vocabulary. At the advanced level, you can listen and read to stuff for native speakers, books, novels, the news, podcasts, stuff for native speakers, right? And then lastly, practice speaking and writing. You still need more reading and speaking and writing practice. Even at that advanced level, you still need more practice. And again, at this advanced level, like you are going to want to track your progress in some way, shape, or form. Level up tracker is great. Fluency self-assessment can also work. Because again, it's really easy to not feel your progress when you're at that advanced level already. It's so easy to feel like you're just spinning your wheels. So having something to track the progress is very important for that motivation. So that's how to teach yourself a language. You can do it, and I have a lot of the resources for you. I can just give them to you, and off you go. Like, it's definitely very possible. Now, if you do want to look into my program, it's called Guaranteed Fluency. Reach fluency for free, or reach fluency, or we keep teaching you for free. That's the premise. I made it because most people never reach fluency. I feel this happens because there aren't any comprehensive solutions. There's no comprehensive solution that addresses fluency as a whole comprehensive problem. There are partial solutions. There's apps and books and podcasts that move you forward a little bit, but they don't take you all the way. So that's why I made this program. And my program is a complete structured path to fluency. I can send you this if you're watching this, I can send you this document. There's a lot of free resources in here to support you. In the program, we focus on all major skills: pronunciation, grammar, listening, speaking, writing, reading. We focus on everything, and we explicitly teach it. So we'll actually have expert one-on-one instruction, and we will teach you all of these skills. We'll also give you tailored self-assessment. We'll give you tailored self-study assignments to work on each individual skill. So if you're learning by yourself, you've got these instructions here that I kind of showed you. You're going to have a lot of my self-study resources that I showed you, but you're on your own. You have to just sort of use them. If you're taking the program, we'll tell you exactly what to do. It's not like, oh, here's a resource, go do something. No. It's like, we're working on your grammar right now. Because you have this level, I want you to use this resource and do this page and this exercise. Like, it's much more specific. We can accommodate you if you want to work more on certain skills, like more on speaking, less on listening, or more on grammar, less on something else. Like, that's perfectly fine. We can accommodate that. That's not a problem. It's highly personalized. We have measurable goals. That's also very unique. We have very measurable goals that we work on with students, and we'll motivate you to stick with it. We're going to talk about how to stay motivated a little bit later today in this video, but we'll motivate you to stick with it. We have a motivation formula. We know how we've broken down what motivation looks like, which I'll share with you because you can actually use it yourself to motivate yourself. And this is also new. I don't think anyone does this to my knowledge. And I've taken a lot of language classes in my adult life, and even before my adult life, but I've taken a lot, and I've never seen anything quite like this. We have clear fluency metrics. So we know we've defined, it's taken years to figure this out, by the way, tons of testing, but we've defined, what does it mean to have a high beginner level? What does it mean to have an intermediate level? What does it mean to be advanced? And what does it mean per category? How do we measure that? So it's very evidence-based instruction and really making sure you're getting better. So it's not just an empty promise. Fluency is like we have objective measurable criteria. So when I say, hey, you're going to be fluent, I mean, I know what that means. There's objective criteria behind it. You'll always know where you stand, you'll know what you've mastered, and you'll know what you've got left to learn, always. I already mentioned expert one-on-one instruction. So it's a personalized balance of private lessons and self-study. We are really good at what we do. One thing that's really unique is that all of my tutors are multilingual. Many of us are even polyglots. So we've done this ourselves multiple times where we've learned languages. So we understand what it's like to be in your shoes. And that's on top of the teaching experience that everyone has too. Flexible schedule. So we generally have some flexibility with when to take classes, morning, evening, afternoon. I've got some tutors in Canada as well as Europe. So there's different time zones, which makes it a bit more flexible. And lastly, I mentioned this earlier, fluency is guaranteed. So if you don't level up within a year and you follow the program, well, we'll keep teaching you for free. Okay, so that's about the program. That's what I do. Now, lastly, let's talk about motivation. I said we were talking over here. I said we'll motivate you to stick with it. Those aren't just empty words. I will tell you how we motivate you. We figured out like what is the formula to motivation. So motivation tends, in my experience, it tends to not be internal, it tends to be external. It comes from courses and resources. So for me anyway, if I'm not motivated, it's an indication that I'm not using the right materials because materials have motivation baked in. Some of them have more baked in, some of them have less motivation baked in. Now, how do you know how much motivation a resource has baked in inside of it? I'll tell you. They have three things. You don't need all three, but having all three is ideal. Exciting goals, expert instruction, minimum requirements. Exciting goals give you direction and energy. You know, maybe you're going to travel to a country and you're really excited to talk to the locals. Maybe you want to become really fluent and that's exciting for you. I'm learning a language now. And for me, what's exciting is that I want to have an intermediate level where I can have basic conversations. So in Calgary, I'm learning Ukrainian, and there's a lot of Ukrainians in Calgary right now. I think it'd be so cool to be able to talk to them a little bit in Ukrainian. So that's exciting for me, right? That gives us some direction and energy. Now, an expert instructor provides guidance and moral support. So it's imagine trying to climb a mountain. You're excited. You have the goal of reaching the top of the mountain, but you want a guide. You want someone who guides you up to the top. They also will provide moral support along the way because sometimes it's difficult. And lastly, minimum requirements. That provides commitment and accountability. So minimum requirements, for example, me right now, I'm enrolled in my guaranteed fluency program. I run the Calgary Language Nerds. This is my program, but I'm enrolled in this program for Ukrainian, basically. And there are minimum requirements that I have in order for me to participate in my guaranteed fluency program. And therefore, it gives me accountability to think, oh, yeah, I have to at least do a little bit of practice. I have to do this. Oh, yeah, I have to at least do this much. Oh, yeah, I have to fill out my little tracker thing. I have to do this. Okay, cool. I'll study a little bit. If I didn't have that, I might get lazy sometimes. So these are the three big things. If you're looking at a resource or a course, you want to see how many of these three things they have and to what degree they have those three things. The more they have them, the more motivated you'll feel using that resource. Now, a bonus, but it's not necessary, necessity. Necessity will also drive motivation. For me, it's why immersion programs and intensive programs have worked. So I've taken courses where you're like in a classroom for 6 hours a day or 7 hours a day. Like I've taken programs like that. It's because you don't have a choice anymore. Now you're stuck in there. You have to learn. Now, necessity is the one thing you can't fake. You can't fake necessity. No one can make you need to learn a language. No one can make you do that. So it's the one thing that you can't fake that. You can't just manufacture it. But the other three things, exciting goals, expert instruction, minimum requirements, these three things can definitely be incorporated into different resources, into different courses. Definitely, 100%. And 3 out of 4 is still very, very good, and you'll still feel very motivated. So that's the key to motivation. And that's how it's why I designed this program. It's how I designed it when I had this in mind. I wanted it to be something that would motivate people to stick with it. So yeah, that's that. Hope that was helpful. Hope you guys now have clear instructions on how to teach yourself a language, should you choose to teach yourself. If you want any of the Any of the self-study resources I mentioned, if you want this document here just as a basic guideline, if you want to have my fluency roadmaps, which give like really step-by-step instructions. If you want the level up tracker, if you want a resource bank, if you want some self-assessments, I'll give you whatever you want. I'll send it over to you. If you're going to not teach yourself and you want to learn with me or learn one of my tutors, well, we have the Guaranteed Fluency Program. Shoot me an email, shoot me a message. More than happy to chat with you more about it. Okay? Have a great day. See you next time. Bye-bye.